Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. I was running across, reading some articles, and I came across an article on aluminum. It says, could aluminum stockpiles disappear by 2024? It says, I don't know how to pronounce this. Trafigura thinks so. It says, booming demand to drive inventories towards zero, trader says. It says, aluminum prices are closing in on a record amid supply curbs. Now, I'll go through this article real quick, and then we'll look at some of the companies. I'll show you some of the charts of aluminum producers. I kind of gone fishing here, so I was like casting it out there, seeing what I can find, bringing in these different companies, um, looking at the charts, and I was mainly doing it by charts. That's how I usually screen companies. I have not done any other analysis in terms of deep diving, but I've got some companies that we can look at for aluminum if you guys are interested in aluminum. But let's go back and look at the fundamentals of aluminum and the sector. So I'm going to read through some of this stuff and look at some of the fundamentals and some charts. It says, trading giant, however you say that name, group has a stark warning for aluminum buyers. Deep shortages of one of the most widely used metals means the world will run out of stockpiles by early 2024. Demand for aluminum, used in everything from food packages to cars to planes, has surged as the global economy recovers from the pandemic, while an energy crisis in Europe and China has crimped supply. That's put prices on the brink of a record high, and the prospect of even more gains will add to the headache of red-hot inflation facing consumers and central banks. Aluminum is a very bullish story. Head of aluminum trading said in an interview, you could see parabolic spikes once stocks run out. And he means inventory. Once inventory runs out, he thinks the price is going to really take off. It says on the cusp of a record, it says aluminum prices have surged to near all-time highs. Here is the prices here. This is back in 2008, the old high of the bull market of commodities. We came down, and if you draw a line across, we are putting in a gigantic pattern. I'll show you what that pattern looks like when we do it on TradingView in a little bit, but this is prices of aluminum. It looks like it wants to break to all-time highs and really start to run. Due to the supply-demand imbalance, the deficits that they're running, and an inventory that's getting eaten up. It says, the deficit is now moving at such a speed that it's unsolvable, actually. It says, Trafigura says, global inventories will be exhausted by early 2024. Here's the inventory as you come, and we're right at that inflection point where price is about to go vertical. The markets are a little bit forward-looking, so I would suspect 2022 to be a good year and 2023 to be a good year. And then we'll call it the cheetah's released in terms of prices after that as this deficit kicks up into 2024, 25, and 26. Looking at it, says the government has set a cap on smelting capacity, and while it remains in place, the onus will be on producers elsewhere to step up output to meet consumption needs. Western producers have hardly added any production over the past 15 years. The question is, what is the incentive price? One of the top traders of the metal isn't alone in forecasting higher prices. Goldman Sachs Group sees aluminum hitting a record $4,000 a ton within the next 12 months as buyers face unprecedented supply tightness. Still, Mueller's prediction that inventories will be entirely depleted in just 2 years highlights the potential fireworks that some traders are bracing for. So we've got this demand-supply deficit coming up. We've got inventories that are eaten up, and we've got aluminum prices that are surging to all-time highs. So what does this all mean? What's the opportunity, and what are some of the companies that we could use to play? So let's do some technical analysis on some aluminum companies. Basically walking through exactly what I do when evaluating a sector. So what I did is I looked at a couple of different articles to get some companies that seem to be pretty good. So I'm looking at what's basically aluminum producers. We'll see kind of what they look like chart-wise. And the charts really drive me to what I look and further kind of do a deep dive into. So we'll dive in here to the charts. So this is the aluminum futures price. Now, this only goes back to 2014. Too bad I couldn't grab something else. Actually, maybe I can. Let's look real quick. Aluminum futures. I've grabbed the aluminum futures contract in the front, and that's all I've got here. So we've got this downtrend. We've broken to the upside. Looking at that other chart, we're right at an all-time high in 2008, which was roughly about 3,000. And this looks incredibly bullish. Yeah, it gets kind of funky down here, but looks incredibly bullish on a monthly candlestick basis. This thing has gone up quite a bit. So let's look at some of the companies and stuff. So I've got CSTM. This is Constellium. This thing looks pretty good. What I'm looking at is kind of a break here to the upside. We've got a consolidation pattern, much like gold and all the other ones. Looks very similar to that. We zoom into the 1 year mark, and we've got a pattern that's playing with its upper resistance line. It looks pretty good overall. Looks decent, and we're above this long-term. We'll call it resistance now, support line. ARNC is another one. Arconic Corporation. This guy's got a nice, good, solid resistance line. We're right there trying to break through it. Looking on the dailies, you can see we're bopping back and forth above that resistance line. So that one looks okay. CENX. Now this one looks really good to me. Century Aluminum Company. CENX. We've got a large consolidation period. It started in 99. So 99, the last bull market, we had this bull market run all the way to the top of 2008. It went from $5 to $80 roughly. Then we had a large consolidation period, and now we're breaking out to the upside recently here. A nice good move to the upside. Maybe on a pullback we could get some shares. But this one looks really good. If I were to project, let's do some project trend-based fib extension. I'm going to use this as the beginning move. I'm going to use this as the pullback. 1.618 puts us at $120. So I think this probably has a high likelihood of potentially hitting, if this was a first kind of wave, a big consolidation, we go to a 1.618 of the original move, we could hit $120, and we're sitting here at 20 bucks. And we've got a breakout of the pattern, just broke out. So I like Century Aluminum here. Would I wait for a pullback? Maybe. Looks like we've had a pretty good run recently. Here's the run recently, and it looks like we're losing some steam. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback potentially. But aluminum looks really good. So that was CNX, CENX. Now looking at Aluminum Corporation of China Limited, this thing looks really good as well. Absolutely fantastic. Nice, good declining wedge. We are coming up. We broke out. We did a retest. This thing actually looks really good down here. So ACH, this one looks good as well. It's already had a pretty good run from $5 to 17, but I think this is just getting going. We could see a pretty big spike potentially. It had a pretty good run from $2.50 all the way to $78. A nice big run here early. I think we're seeing another big run that's developing. This chart looks fantastic. ACH is one that I would look further into. VEDL is another one that looks kind of pretty interesting. Went all the way from $1.20 to $510. My goodness. Holy smokes. This is Vedanta, but this thing looks absolutely ridiculous back here. The last bull market here, you could see this thing bottomed at $1 and ran all the way to 480, about almost $500 last bull market. It's consolidated sideways, and it looks like we're breaking to the upside again at 364. That would be one I would look into. It looks pretty nice. Kaiser Aluminum Corporation, KALU. This guy just looks like it's coming on up. I don't see any patterns here. It's probably still a good pick, but it bottomed out in 09 at like 17 bucks and ran to 135. AA Alcoa. This guy's got a really large pattern. It's a broadening type wedge, and it's broken to the upside. This would have been an awesome buy down here at 587. It's already at $78. Big old move higher. I don't know if I'd be chasing it or not, but that's Alcoa Corporation. So the ones that get me very interested is ACH, that's breaking to the upside, and CENX. They've got these consolidation patterns that are breaking to the upside. Those are two that I would probably look into if you're interested in the aluminum play. There's probably a whole bunch of other aluminum companies. This is my first kind of shot looking at it. If you guys have some incredible aluminum companies, put it in the comment section below, and I can do some further analysis on it. But this is my kind of first shot. It looks like there's a few companies in there that look kind of good for investment. And if the aluminum thesis plays out that those guys presented with the deficits and the inventories running out, there could be some pretty good potential there. So if you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.